we're talking about coin supplies and specifically cardboard flips. I've never purchased coin flips off of the internet before, and I wanted to try some from Amazon, but before today, every coin flip I've ever purchased has been from either a show or a coin shop and comes in a bundle of 100 like this. Now, in many places you can purchase just one, but usually you're going to find them in 100, and in the United States they come in different size. This would be the smallest available in the United States, the dime size. But this was all I had, and so I needed some more, and this is going to run you pretty much $3 wherever you go, about $3. But today, my package from Amazon came in, and as you can see, this is a really big package. So we're going to open this up and take a look inside. This is something I bought. This is not something that they paid me to review or anything like this. And as a world coin collector, I need flips of different sizes. So this is going to be coin flips in 10 different sizes. So let us pull this out of the box. Hopefully they're all together right here. So this is what we're dealing with. Now, when you purchase, if you look for flips on Amazon, they're going to recommend the brand called Boen. I guess that's how you pronounce it, B-O-E-N. And there are several different Boen products available. This is the one of the more expensive lots that they have, where they make flips in 10 different sizes, and this is one of each size, and there's 100 each. And what's interesting is they come in these different boxes. This cost me $23. And so if you think for just a minute, that is $2.30 each, whereas it would cost $30 to buy 10 of these. But I also noticed that they're going to be a little bit thinner, and this had a reviews score of 4.6 on Amazon, so it looks like generally everybody was happy with it. But there were a couple of people that said they're flimsy, they're cheap, and they don't make them like they used to. Now the funny thing is, I have no idea who makes these. I've bought flips forever, and it doesn't say who makes these, so I don't know if I've ever had cheap brands, good brands, or really what brands they made them. I have noticed that the ones that were white on both sides, so always one side's going to be white, but if you get them white on both sides, they seem to be a little bit better where they bleach the cardboard all the way through it. But there's also a stapler in here, and I'm going to get to that in a moment. So I was going to try and remove this the right way, but let's just, the bag's already torn. And here you go. Now, in the United States, we use inches, and so these are, once you fold it together, this is going to be 2 inches by 2 inches. But the rest of the world who uses metric, it's going to be 5 centimeters by 5 centimeters. So that's essentially the same size on both of these. And so I guess they do make more than, it looks like they make 13 different sizes on here. The 3-hole penny, I don't like those. I'd never purchased these, but these are supposed to be, well, since it's going to be 10 different sizes, let me go ahead and open it up. So one thing I'll say is maybe these flips aren't as good because they're a little bit thinner, but I will say I kind of like the boxes because you can sort of use these boxes to hold several coins once they're stapled together. So I have heard that this is probably not a recommended product for a United States coin collector because you're going to get a lot of sizes on here that aren't really important or might not fit American coins. This one appears to be about the size of the United States half dollar, but you're going to get some. Well, in the United States, we've got the dime, the penny, the nickel, the quarter, the half dollar, the Sacagawea dollar, the old-fashioned Morgan dollars, and so I don't know why you would need more than about 7 sizes of coins. This one's larger, so we're getting closer to the. I don't think that doesn't quite look large enough to hold a Morgan or an Eisenhower dollar in the United States. So that looks a little too big for a half dollar on that one. So that's one that would not help a U.S. coin collector. This one marked in a couple of different ways. Oh, in a hurry and almost tore this box. But our next box is, it's going to be about a quarter size. So let me kind of rank these by how big they are on the screen. Next one, these is about a halfway size. We've got, that's going to be closer to, these two are awfully similar. 1.083 inches and 1.142 inches. So slightly different sizes here. Now, one of those is going to be about the size of a Sacagawea dollar in America, and one of them is going to be about the size of a quarter, but you're going to end up with sizes you don't need. Let me pause for a moment and open up the rest of these. So I've opened up all of the different boxes here, and I've ranked them smallest to largest. As a world coin collector, I'm going to need all these sizes, but let's just see how it works with American coins. So this one probably works for a dime, a little bit bigger than a dime. So there's nothing between a dime and like nickel size. So we've got that. This one, next one is a little bit too big for a penny. So maybe that one's nickel size. Maybe this one was penny size. Yeah, these are actually penny size. They don't even make any dime sized on here. Let's get out a nickel, and that would be a good size for a nickel. Then is the next one for a quarter. That's close to a quarter, but the next one is too big for a quarter. So we're going to call that one a quarter. So most of your US coins are probably going to fit in just these first 3 boxes. So I don't have any Susan B. Anthony dollars. I think is that about the same size as a quarter? I really don't remember. But it's closer, slightly larger. But here is a Sacagawea dollar. And so this next one's going to be pretty tight fit for that. Then a JFK half dollar. Now, this one, that's too big for that one, so let's come to the next size up. And this one, that's close. That one's too big, so down here. That one's too big, so let's go to this one right here. Okay, that's the perfect fit for the half dollar. Wish I had a free Morgan dollar to show you, but I'm pretty sure this, the Eisenhower dollar is the same size as the Morgan dollar. That's definitely too small for that. Too small for that one. Too small for that one. And so finally, this one right here is where you're going to get your Morgan dollars. And so if you're outside the United States, a Morgan dollar, an Eisenhower dollar, going to be about the same size as the British crown or Mexican peso from a long time ago. So the large coin. So if you're an American collector, there are 4 boxes on here that I don't think you can use. So that's one reason why someone might not want it. As a foreign coin collector, eventually I would use all of these, but I'm probably going to use the smaller ones more often. I don't buy as many of these large size coins. Let me go ahead and scoop all these out of here. Now each of these boxes had a size on it. So the largest, 40 millimeters. This one didn't even have millimeters. That's 1.457 inches. We've got 1.378 inches, so the 35 millimeter. Almost 1.3 inches. 1.24, so that's 31.5 millimeters. 1.142 inches. 27.5 millimeters. 25 millimeters. So it's interesting how some of these have the way they're written on here in different ways. 23 millimeter. And the smallest is going to be 20.5 millimeters. So I wish there was a dime size and that we could get rid of maybe one of these two right here that we're just not going to use very often. So now let's talk about the stapler that comes with it. This is, I looked it up. This is a company that these flips were made in China. I know some people are not going to be very happy about that. However, I couldn't tell you where these are made, if they're made in the United States or in China or somewhere else. But the stapler that comes with it, I'm going to recommend that you not use this. I was going to say throw it away, but you might have some other use for a cheap stapler that you can throw away. The stapler that I recommend is the Max Flat Staple, and yeah, it's called the Max Flat Clinch, and I'll link this to this one in the comments or in the description down below. This one staples flat and it doesn't have raised edges on it, so that's going to be key. So the next test is to see how flimsy is it when we try and put a large coin in one of these. I'm going to take one of these larger ones and, ooh, definitely flimsy. Definitely thinner cardboard on that. And now that I look at it, that not very clear on here either. Now maybe it's just because I'm holding it up to the light. Let me get one of the better flips and compare that one. So let's well, you know, that one has a little bit of, maybe it's just because when you hold it up to the light, it's a little bit more noticeable. But that one's not too clear, as clear as I thought it would be, relatively. But I don't know how well this thickness is going to show up on camera. But you can definitely tell how thick 100 of them is, because this stack is about 60% of as tall as the originals. So that's what we're dealing with on here. So we're going to take, I'm going to take a $50, US $50. We'll put it in the flip. We'll staple it with my flat stapler. Something else you want to look for is when you just simply fold it, do the corners line up? You see how they don't quite line up right. That's another negative on here. So when that happens, that means that the you want to call that a hinge? I don't know, where it folds over isn't quite perfect. Maybe I just did that one wrong. We'll do another one just to test it out. But the next question is, how quality is the thin Mylar on here? Now, I'll say with the coin in there, you can't even really tell how unclear that Mylar is. So maybe that's not going to be a problem. But I don't know if I've ever done this test before, but we're going to do a punch test, where I'm just going to see if I can push this through. Okay, that that was heavier duty than I thought it would be. It required so much force that it just flung that into a glass that I have on the other side of the table. Let me fish that out. So maybe the most important thing on the quality of your flip is the quality of the clear piece on here and how susceptible to damage is it. Now, I don't think it's the clearest out there, but at least it wasn't so horrible. Now, I will say that if you're buying online, this is far and away the cheapest. If you have a coin store or a coin show you can go to in the near future, I might as well just wait unless you needed this many of them. So we're going to put the coin in here again. I'm going to carefully fold it over without pushing it one way or another, and we'll see if the corners line up. I would say the corners lined up pretty good this time. Well, you know, it's barely off, but if you can get it before you staple it, kind of hold it with your thumbs, maybe you can fix that problem. So staple, staple, third staple. And that time it folded a lot better. So maybe, well, barely off. Like a millimeter difference right there. So that's only important if you're going to put these on pages, because if you're just going to leave them loose, and I don't know who would do that, but if you're just going to leave these coins loose, then it doesn't matter how perfect the corners are, but you'll find some pages that are really tight on the corners. Now I'm going to run a different kind of test. I've got a coin that is a damaged coin that, if you take a look here, that is a pretty sharp corner right here. If I have a coin that was going to damage something, it would be this coin right here. And I don't care which side is up. I'm also going to use a non-flat stapler. So this would be a really good stapler for anything else, a boss stitch. And you can see how the staples are kind of raised on this one. Whereas with the flat stapler, you can see that's what coin dealers and coin collectors should be using, are the flat staples. Don't be using this one. This is not going in an album. Let's see how it lined up, because I didn't pay any attention at all to what I was doing. And so we've got slight off the corner right there, about a millimeter. So all in all, that's not too bad. But how does this one hold up to abuse? So we're going to intentionally get this to fall out, you had to pretty much destroy the cardboard piece of it. So that was stronger than I thought it would be. I've got one more to punch out. We're going to go back to the last JFK. I mean, you really got to force it so much that I can't even hold on to it on there. Now, maybe after this is sitting in your collection for 5 years, they're all going to fall apart and disintegrate on you, which would be a horrible experience. But that's what it looks like so far. So for my next test, I want to see how hard is it to write on there, or you're going to notice any difference. I just happen to have a book about JFK right here. And so let's say, pretend that I just put the JFK $50 in here. So I'm going to take my pen, and you have really horrible handwriting since I am writing on camera. Yeah, I can't tell any difference between this and any other flip that I've ever written on. So that's not a problem. I don't know the KM number on a Kennedy half, but so writing on it seemed to be okay. I mean, I guess smearing it like I just did on purpose right here isn't the flip's fault on that, but well, there you go. All right, so let me give a summary here. Pros, it's cheaper. So you to buy 10 of these 100 bundles would cost $30. This was $23. Although, to be fair, I live in a high sales tax state, and so this actually cost me $25.50 after sales tax. whereas you're not going to be paying sales tax at a show more than likely. So that's a pro, is it's a little bit cheaper to get 1,000 flips. If you have a need for wide-ranging coin sizes, this is for you. American collectors, you don't need this. World collectors, you might need this. Now, I will say that if you are a U.S. coin collector, the 10 different size bundle's not for you. There was a 6 different size bundle, which is probably better. Another pro is I actually see myself having a use for some of these boxes. You used up the whole set, and so about 50 of these would fit in here, I guess, or maybe about 35 of the more expensive flips would fit in this box when you're done with the box. So that might be a way of holding them if you don't have that many pages. The cons on here is it feels flimsy, at least the cardboard part feels flimsy. It was a little bit not too clear when you look through the window, and I had a couple that just didn't line up perfectly, but to be honest with you, the ones that I buy at the coin store aren't really all that better with that. I get some that are like a good 2 or 3 millimeters off. If you're forced to buy flips off the internet, maybe this is the product for you, because buying these on the internet, I say I keep getting them for $3 because I know where to buy them locally, but if you're forced to buy these off the internet, this is going to cost you like $6 or $7 just on eBay or Amazon or wherever you're looking. So if you had to buy them online, this is probably the way to go. But I would recommend, it's probably better to go to a show where they're going to have a dedicated dealer, and you can just buy the sizes of flips that you need. So I'm going to say that really the people who need this are the people who have to buy them off the internet and are willing to sacrifice a little bit of quality for a good price. Everyone else, U.S. collectors or people that don't need 1,000 flips, probably don't need this. Well, that's all I've got to say for about this, so I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, bye.